I know I can get ahead of batters and strike them out. But if I have all these expectations for myself, I'm gonna get frustrated, I'm gonna get annoyed, I'm gonna be mad. So it's all about getting your team to support you, but you have to get out of your circle a little bit. Show it to them. Let them see. And maybe they're like, I don't know if it's ready. Keep showing. Keep that communication going. Welcome to the Weekly Dose. My name is Jamie Southern, and I'm a 4-time All-American pitcher at Fresno State and a member of Team USA. The Weekly Dose, this is where we go beyond the lessons. There is not enough time within a lesson to be able to talk mechanics and spin and game situations and communicating and all the different things that go along with being a pitcher and being a great pitcher. So the Weekly Dose is a weekly show that we talk about topics, and we bring this information and our tips and our experience to pitchers and their parents to continue to grow, to know what it takes to be elite. And with this week, we are talking about communicating and the importance of it in the position of a pitcher. So we are going to talk about the who, what, when, why, all about communicating. So when you leave this episode, you have a better idea of what pitchers are supposed to do and how you can implement it into your lessons and your team and your games. So let's get started and let's talk about what is communicating? To me, communicating as a pitcher is to get everybody that involves me in my position on the same page. I need to be able to communicate with my coach, with my catcher, with my parents, with my pitching instructor. I've got to be able to do that so that I know we are all on the same page and I'm in a better place to be able to achieve my goals that I want to, game to game or year to year, or being able to play at this specific college. There is an importance, and we don't look at it like that. And if we do not communicate the right way, we can build up this frustration, this resentment, this, I'm annoyed, like they never call this, right? Instead of being able to talk through our problems or talk through when things are happening. So communicating is very important. It's just not, you need to call more rise balls. That's not what communicating is. It's being able to accomplish our goals. Why do I need to do it? I just kind of shared a little bit about it, but I need to do it to be able to be successful. I need to be successful. I cannot be a great pitcher by myself. I can't do it. I am reliant on my catcher. I rely on my coaches to scout the other players, to know what to call, to be able, right? We're all on the same page working together. I'm relying on my pitching instructor to be able to teach me the right skills, but they have to know my problems weekend to weekend to be able to then fix my problems or to help me work through things, or all the things that the pitching coach is supposed to be able to do, but they have to know what's going on. So we know what it is and we know why I need to do it. I have these goals and I need everybody to help me get there. So you can't just stay in your little circle. You can't go into the car after the games and just, oh my gosh, Mom, they don't do this or they don't. No, we've got to be able to get everybody on the same page so I can achieve my goals. I have these expectations to be great, to be successful in my game, to throw this pitch because it's my strength and I know I can get ahead of batters and strike them out. But if I have all these expectations for myself, I'm going to get frustrated. I'm going to get annoyed. I'm going to be mad because they're unmet expectations. I can't get there. So if we have these goals, we have to get our parents and everybody on board to be able to allow me to grow, allow me to get to where I am wanting to get to. So who am I supposed to be talking to? Our pitching coach, our head coach who calls pitches, my catcher, my parents, my team behind me. You're like, that's a lot of talking. And I'm very outgoing. I'm not a demanding pitcher. I'm not a bossy pitcher, but I'm an encouraging pitcher. And I've always felt that was my strength, because let me work backwards and say, okay, talk to your teammates. Well, yeah, I do. I tell them there's 2 outs, or, hey, watch the runner, watch the steal. That's all good. But I want to go a little bit deeper. If I am to be successful, I need my teammates to play behind me. And I know you've all thought it before at some point in your little journey of like, oh my gosh, nobody's cheering behind me. It's the 8 o'clock game in the morning and everybody's asleep and I'm working hard to try to get this and everybody's just like quiet. I don't even feel like anyone's behind me. Now, you've probably thought that before, and that's a normal feeling. But if I want my job to be a good, successful one, I've got to be able to include them. So what that looks like is I threw a lot of change-ups. If it was a key situation where I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm throwing this girl change-up and I'm going to shake it off until I get the change-up, I would sometimes look at my third baseman, because I know she's going to pull it if she makes contact, and I'm going to say, hey, nothing by you. What does that do to that third baseman? She's like, all right, let's do this. Like, it's coming to me. She's ready for it. She's thinking about it, right? Instead of reacting to the ball, she is more prepared. Another example of what I do to communicate to my teammates is if there's a runner at first, I will look at the shortstop and say, hey, I'm coming to you. If I get the ball, they hit it back to me, like, I'm coming to you. So she knows, like, hey, I gotta be there. Jamie is coming fast. Like, she's gonna come, we're gonna get this double play. Okay. Sometimes we'll have 2 outs and everybody's like, oh my gosh, we got this biggest batter out. There's 2 outs. And I'll look and be like, we're not done yet. Let's get this last out, right? So now they know, like, hey, we got to do this together. It's not just on me to strike them out. We're in it together. Let's do this. Let's finish this inning, right? Another and last example would be if there's a runner at second, I will look at my infield and be like, nothing by you. You knock this ball down. Because if they knock it down, that runner stays at third base, right? And we keep it from scoring a run. So those are just little ways that I'm talking to my team. One that just popped in my head is in a bunt situation. If I need to pop her up, I'm going to tell my corners, hey, let's pop her up. What does that do to the batter? She's like, oh, I'm not going to pop this bunt down. I got to get it down, right? But she's already thinking about popping it up. So it's all about getting your team to support you, but you have to get out of your circle a little bit. So I encourage you to do that. We also need to talk to our coaches. Now, I've had many girls in my lessons say, I'm not talking to my coach. Nope. Very intimidating, very scary. I'm not going to tell him what I need. No. Then you're not going to meet your goals. Those are facts. If they're calling the pitches that I'm throwing, we all need to be on the same page. So that doesn't just mean you get to talk to your coach when you're unhappy with what's being called. It's also like, hey, that really worked good. Oh my gosh, like we're popping this team up. Like, let's just keep throwing rise balls until they make an adjustment, or, right? You have to be able to communicate, not just in a game. And that would be the inning to inning, being able, like, this is working or this isn't working. But we're also talking about during taking your pitching lesson and carry over. Right? You are one of the most important positions in the game, but your coaches rarely know what you're being worked on, what's being worked on at your lessons. And so how am I supposed to be successful when they don't even know what I'm working or struggling with? They don't know what is awesome because they're not used to calling it, right? So I've had pitchers who have a fabulous rise ball and I'm like, it's ready for the game. I want you to throw it this weekend. And they're like, okay. They're so pumped because it is awesome. And the next lesson they come back and I said, how was the rise ball? And they're like, he didn't call it. Like, that's not on him. That's on you. You have to be able to communicate to say, my pitching coach says it's ready. But if we don't get on the same page, then there's going to be that lack. There's going to be that frustration, right? How am I supposed to continue to grow if they don't know where we are in the middle of the week? So you've got to talk with your coaches, okay? Please find a way. Maybe it's just through a text message after your lessons, something, but communicate. And coaches, that's on your end too, to be able to say, like, what are you working on? Well, I'm working on a rise ball and my pitching coach says it's great. And that's where you're like, can I show it to you in practice after? Show it to them. Let them see. And maybe they're like, I don't know if it's ready. Keep showing. Keep that communication going, because eventually you guys are going to get there and you're going to be on the same page where he can find the success or she can find the success with it. I'm not saying all of the intimidating coaches are men, but most of the ones in my instance with my girls were. So be able to talk. They're just people. Your coaches are just people, and they have passion and they're intense during the game, and that's okay. That shouldn't stop you from it. We need to talk to our catchers, right? I've had amazing catchers in my career, and then I've had some that I just didn't think were awesome and that were really helping me as a pitcher. So I would go to my parents and be like, oh my gosh, like these were strikes last year. Why am I not getting strikes this year? And what did my parents encourage me to do? You've got to tell. It's a tough conversation to say, hey, I need you to get there a little bit earlier so it doesn't look like my ball's breaking outside your body. Can you get there earlier and catch it in front, right? But I have to communicate. I need to communicate to say, hey, I think they're picking your pitches. We want to all be successful. We're all on the same page. And then you need to communicate with your pitching coach. They have to know. I remember when I'm giving lessons that pitchers would come back and I said, what worked well for you this weekend? What was struggling? And it's like, we just want to talk about mainly the successes, or we say, yeah, this pitch just really wasn't working. And I would have to dig in deeper. Why? Were you throwing it in this counts? Were you throwing it to get ahead, but that's not your strength, right? There's all these different scenarios. You have to come to your pitching coach to say, this is awesome. I know how to use this now, or this was getting hit and this is why I think it's getting hit, or what do you think? Or you've got to be able to grow weekend to weekend. You can't just show up for your lesson and then work on something else. There has to be carryover. You have to continue to grow and stick with it. So the communication has to be there, and it can't just be, oh, well, she threw 67% strikes. That's great, but I need more to it. Right? I need more depth. I need to know what the batters are hitting and what counts you're getting hit. Or are you throwing balls? Well, why are you throwing balls? Because you're throwing pitches that aren't your strength, right? There needs to be deeper conversations to get better faster. The last of it is, when should I communicate? Obviously with your catcher, it's during the game, right? In between, you're giving that high five. Don't just give a high five. It's like, hey, oh, that was really working, or this isn't working. This umpire doesn't like this, right? You're starting to grow those conversations. You're getting better through the game faster. I need to communicate with my coach in between innings as well, if our catchers aren't communicating. So that's something that needs to be. But then if you are frustrated, if you want them to be calling more of a pitch, that might need to happen after practice. Like, hey, coach, can I get 5 minutes of your time? Can I talk with you to be able to go over some things I'm working on with my pitching coach? Or do you mind if I text you every week after my lesson, just to kind of let you know what was good and what was bad, and just so we're all on the same page? That would be awesome. The coach does not want to talk about certain things in the middle of the games that are not appropriate in the middle of the games, right? So figure out when they can give you that time, give you that focus that you deserve and that you want from them as well. So it might be after practice, probably not before, right? Because they're thinking about practice, what they got to do, and that's just something that's a little bit deeper. But it's hard to do, and I encourage you to do it without your parents. Grow, because you're going to have to do that in high school and in college. And then obviously with your lesson, sometimes during your lesson you do not have enough time to talk with your pitching coach. That is okay to say, I really want to talk about this in more depth. Is there any time tomorrow during the day to call you? Or is there time tonight where we can go into it a little bit more? I think it's important. Your pitching instructor should want to hear from you and care about you. And so, but you have to initiate it, because they do have multiple pitchers. And so it's not on the top of their mind to say, I need to check in on her. So I encourage you to know what you want to say, know who to say it, and know how to say it and when to say it, because communicating helps you as the pitcher. It's not easy for you. I know there's half of you out there that are like, I just stay in my circle and I do what I'm supposed to do, but you are not going to get great. You have to be able to communicate. Okay? It's so important. So start now. How do you start? I say, talk to your teammates once a game. Once a game, say something that's a little bit deeper. Get them to help you. Talk to your coach once a game. Talk to your catcher once a game. And then you're going to feel like, okay, that was safe. I can do that. That worked. And then twice a game. Encourage yourself. Parents, encourage your daughters to say, what did you say that you felt was communicating this game? Did you communicate? How did you do that? Encourage them, because they're thinking about balls and strikes. And so sometimes we have to continue to get that in their head. That's an important part. I can throw my balls and strikes and I can think about my mechanics and my break, but I have to think about how to communicate. That is a key factor in that. So start small, work once a game, and eventually it's going to build up and you're going to get more comfortable, just like with everything in life. Just like our topics, at the very end, we have a weekly workout that we want to encourage you and to give you some direction to have purpose with your practice. And so this one, it's really hard, I guess, to communicate. It's not a game situation, right, in practice. And so what I want you to do is warm up your pitches. And I want you to call your shots for 5 to 10 minutes. Give yourself to say, hey, I want to throw a curveball that is lower. Call your shot. Tell your catcher. Pitchers, you are so used to your catchers, your coaches, your parents telling you what to throw that it's uncomfortable to say it, and to say it with confidence. You're like, I don't know. Maybe a rise ball inside. No, you're going to be confident. You're going to say rise ball inside. Boom, nail it. If you don't, say, I'm going to do it again. Hit your spot. Call your spot. Be confident in this drill. After you do that for 5 to 10 minutes, I want you to pitch to 4 imaginary batters, and I want you to tell your catcher what you are going to throw. And I want you to, before you throw it, I want you to make up the batter. So I want you to say, this is a slapper, she's a leadoff. Or this is the second batter, it's a bunt situation, and we know she's going to bunt. Or also maybe this is a number 4 hitter, but she's standing off the plate more. So I'm going to try to throw her some curveballs, or, right? Get specific, communicate it. And then after that workout, I encourage you to text your pitching coach. What happened? Text your coach. And I want you to communicate one time this week with somebody that can help you and your journey and your game. Up your game. Communication helps you. Thank you guys. This workout will be posted into the notes section. So if you wanted to look at it again, and please look on and join our Facebook group, The Weekly Dose. So you guys will get things throughout the week. We'll have guest speakers. We're going to have live calls to be able to help y'all. And workouts will be posted, but also how to analyze those workouts. So it's not just here, go do it. It's like, okay, I did it, now what? And we're going to help you with that. So find The Weekly Dose on Facebook, and we look forward to seeing you next week.